Welcome to the Luminary Soul. Not just a podcast, but a sanctuary where we stir the soul, share spiritual wisdom, and ignite the spark of inspiration within you. Join us as we embark on our shared journey of self-discovery, exploring consciousness, spiritual evolution, and the boundless depths of our being. Through reflections, dialogues, and immersive healing sessions for us to awaken our true essence. Together, let's chart our course towards our luminous higher path and purpose. I'm your host, Simran. Let the journey begin. Hey there, luminaries. Welcome back to the Luminary Soul podcast. I'm so happy to be back with you again. And so last episode, we talked about just the overall landscape of what to expect from this podcast. And in this episode, I'm going to share more about the body of work in conjunction with becoming a luminary soul and the body of work that's come through me over the last 18 months that I've been teasing a little bit, and I'm excited to talk more about it. And for those of you who are listening through YouTube, you're noticing that you can actually see my face. So this podcast is now audio and video. So if you prefer to see my face and listen along, you can head over to my YouTube channel, and that will be in the show notes, and whichever podcast platform you are listening to. But you can also still stay on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you're listening if you just want to hear the audio as well. So that's just a cute little update that I wanted to throw in there. But I'm excited to chat with you in this episode because last week's episode, I shared a bit about the luminary soul and what that exactly means. And so this episode, I'm going to share a bit on this powerful tool that I have adapted and developed to help you understand the mechanics of your luminary soul and how it ties to the first step in your embodiment process. And so if you're listening, before we get started, to your favorite podcast platform, be sure to follow and leave a review so more people can hear this message. And if you're watching my lovely face via YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also hit the notifications bell to get all the latest updates. And before we dive in, let's go ahead and get into soul state. So get comfortable wherever you are. Let's take a deep breath in and out. And let's begin. And if you feel led, just move your body and sit still and give your permission to do whatever it is that you feel called to do. And just setting an intention for your soul to fully arrive in your body, whatever that looks like and feels like for you. And on your next breath out, just visualize a prismatic technicolor beam of light moving through you from the top of your head through your body, expanding out in the middle of your chest and out into the world. And take another breath and bring yourself back into the presence of the room that you're listening. All right, how does that feel, guys? All right, so let's talk about Luminary Human Design, this body of work that I've been working on. I'm super jazzed to share with you. So that's pretty much what I want to talk about, is uncovering your luminary soul, right? Uncovering your purpose, uncovering your creative, energetic blueprints, the essence of who you are and who you're called to be in this world, right? So I've discovered this vehicle through an existing modality called human design. and there's tons and tons of information about it. It's taken the spiritual development and the personal development world by storm over the last 10 years, but really it's reached a huge boom within the last like 5 or 6 years. And so like a ton of people are teaching it all over, and there's a lot of different modalities based in human designs and gene keys as well. And I'm super proud and excited to be on that wave as well with something just, oh, it's so delicious, and I'm really excited to share. So this is Luminary Human Design is something that if you are really into traditional human design, you can take all that information and apply it here with Luminary Human Design. So there's not much of a difference, and vice versa. So as I explain more about it, I'm going to use some traditional language and also my own language within the practice. And so just that's one of the cool things about HD is that it's just a lot of people have adapted it to fit their own perspective and to fit their body of work. And I know that human design typically, just being a relatively new system, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it was channeled by a guy named Ra Uru Hu, and it combines the best of astrology, I Ching, the Hindu chakra system, just to create another way of understanding yourself, but really in depth, just how you're energetically wired to create. And yeah, I'm gonna really get into it more in depth. Sorry if I'm rambling. I'm still getting used to video podcasting and getting in the groove, so thanks for bearing with me. But one of the cool things is that it just combines a ton of ancient wisdom to create a system to help people understand how they respond to life and how to interact with life itself, right? And so as amazing as traditional human design is, it does have a reputation for being very confusing, very heady, people getting lost in it, and also, which is odd, but a lot of folks that are teaching human design and are doing human design readings are having a tendency to become very dogmatic and somewhat negative, which is counterintuitive to what human design was created to be, because the whole idea is to take the aspects of your chart and to experiment with it and see how it shows up for you in your life and have a personal understanding and experience with it to be true for you, and to take whatever doesn't resonate with you, or take whatever resonates with you and to just leave what doesn't, right? It's the idea is that you're experimenting with it. So to hear that people are making it very dogmatic and very just like, you have to do this, or it's just odd to me. And so a lot of people actually are getting turned off by human design because of that, which is really unfortunate. But my goal is to really incorporate energy work, energy coaching, and all the best of my gifts to allow you to create, to have more of a utility behind your design, and to not get so lost in the terminology, and to not be so heady, and to really incorporate it into your ability to be the best creative that you can possibly be, and to really understand what your creative gifts are, and how you best create, not just your art, your body of work, your legacy, your calling, your purpose, but just how you create your reality, how you manifest in and of itself, right? And so my modality, Luminary Human Design, is just the best of the spin of energy work, human design, energy coaching, sound healing, for you to come to your own truth, and to then integrate it into your life, and to really therefore embody it. So that just kind of becomes autopilot, and to really supercharge whatever is meaningful to you. So going through more of the difference between traditional human design and luminary human design. So traditional human design teaches you why and how you interact with your current existence. So just why you're wired the way you are, and how you design, and how you're designed to interact with life. And so that's just the baseline of it. And it's super valuable. I'm not trying to say that traditional human design isn't that great and that luminary human design is a much better thing and throw away the old and this is the new. No, they're meant to work synergistically, right? This is just that next step, right? It's okay, I have all this information. Traditional human design gives you the information. Luminary human design really shows you what to do with it, and also how to get to the root cause of whatever blocks and restrictions are holding you back from embodying your highest self. So it's the what now and beyond, right? And so once again, like I said, it is the best of what I know about vibrational healing and moving through any resistance and core beliefs that are holding you back from being within your highest embodiment, showing you the why and the how to harness it, and then to heal the old patterns in a way that honors your design. For example, visionaries, aka generators, actually manifesting generators, are angry and frustrated, right? Those are the key signs of misalignment, anger and frustration. But luminary human design will put more of an emphasis on looking at the root causes of that anger and frustration and looking at the core beliefs that created that root cause to allow you to move through it. And also involving your soul field, right? Really understanding your soul fields, not just your auric field, but just the totality of your energetic body, and the structures to really expand both the spirit, the body, and the mind all together. So, it just offers practical ways to apply this knowledge in your everyday life. Empowers you to make decisions that are in alignment with your true self, leading to a more fulfilling and authentic life, and also just aiding in identifying and releasing patterns that no longer serve you, facilitating your personal growth and your spiritual development. I know I'm kind of repeating and explaining the same thing in a different way, but just to help you really wrap your head around it. And also just moreover, luminary human design can really help you in a new way to enhance your relationships by improving communication, understanding how you best communicate, fostering and understanding others' unique designs, especially if you're neurodivergent. I'm neurodivergent, I'm ADHD and autistic. And this way of understanding human design has really also helped me to understand the mechanics of my neurodivergent brain on a deeper level so that I can communicate with people, especially neurotypical people, where I've in the past felt very chronically misunderstood and it's had negative results in my life, to better be able to communicate with people much more cohesively to avoid a lot of those kerfuffles, right? So again, like traditional human design is more about who you were conditioned to be. Luminary human design, otherwise known as LHD, takes that and then gives you the power to create a new version, who you want to be, and to step into that, to step into your favorite self, for you to really be that luminous, energetically rich self. Isn't that awesome? I figured. So let's talk about the luminary archetypes. So in traditional human design, you have your types. Here we have the luminary archetypes, the creative archetype, right? So the first is the Innovator, also known in traditional human design as the Manifestor. So the innovative luminary is a trailblazer. That is the luminary soul that is all about forging new paths and initiating change. They inspire by just taking bold actions, setting the trends, and fearlessly challenging that status quo. They're very direct They're very decisive, I almost said divisive, but decisive in their nature. And that makes them impactful influencers that are going to shape the world through their visionary ideas and their actions. So they really are just, I'm going to tell the people my vision, what I'm doing. And that's how, their modus for changing and shifting is through informing. So they get the impetus to create, and then they tell the people that it's going to affect the most. And that's how they create and move. And then you have the catalysts, traditionally known as generators. And these are the folks who are called sacral beings. They have that motor. So they are designed to just really have that energy to move. This is the embodiment of enthusiasm and productivity, unyielding passion, a high work ethic, unwavering authenticity, so long as they are truly aligned, right? They're in their highest embodiment. And just that beacon of illuminating the world around them. They are in this relentless pursuit of perfection. They are heavy perfectionists. They can fall into perfectionistic tendencies, and just a commitment towards their passions, their craft, and the defining attributes that they have, their unique talents. These individuals possess a natural knack for influencing others as well. They captivate those around them through their infectious energy, their really big aura, and also through their steadfast dedication. They are very loyal, meaningful, loyal to the things that are meaningful to them and that are very impactful to them. And what truly sets them apart, however, is going to be their ability to consistently deliver value, right? Through multiple different channels. That it can be their guidance, they're solution oriented, they're really good strategists when it comes to their insights, and they're dedicated to their cause. They really have a natural ability to inspire and leave a lasting impact wherever they go. Thirdly, we have the hybrid type between the innovators and the catalysts, and this is the multidimensional visionary, whom I call the visionaries for short. This is my archetype, my luminary archetype. So visionaries traditionally are known as manifesting generators, and this is a unique type of thought leader who just is always doing multiple different things. Like me, I've got my podcast. I've made this modality, Luminary Human Design. I'm a sound healer. I'm a channel. I, as a hobby, am a burlesque performer. I also am a nail tech, right? So I know how to do a lot of different things that at face value don't really have much to do with each other, but I can find ways to make them cohesive, right? So I have a lot of different talents. I have my hands in a lot of different things. I can speak to this because this is the type that I am, right? And so there's just a big allure. They're very enigmatic in a lot of ways, just with unparalleled versatility, lightning fast cognitive processes. So that's one of my, I guess you could say, like, savant skill as an autistic person, is just like I can remember random facts about something and tie it to something that's completely that would be seemingly irrelevant but is very helpful. And so I tend to be that person that my friends, my family, people that I know, former colleagues will go to to know about, to ask for stuff or to be pointed in the direction of what they're looking for. And that's that generator part of me, right? And so we are able to form connections between dots that are just unrelated on the surface. That is the visionary, or the multidimensional visionary, and as far as the luminary system. And then fourthly, we have the catalyst. or no, I talked about the catalyst. Fourthly, we have the guide, right? We have the guide, traditionally known as projectors, and they have, I have so many projector friends. I really respect projectors. I'm drawn to projectors because they help to reel me in when I'm a little too scattered, I'm a little too all over the place. They help to reel me in. They are the guides. They possess a keen perception and a keen wisdom. The guide is the mentor. A lot of guides, especially in the spiritual development space, you will see as coaches, like especially life coaches, spiritual coaches. Definitely, like a lot of guides are in the coaching space, in the online space as content creators that just share their wisdom. And their influence is just on personalized advice. They can really look at someone and be able to intuit and to percept and to see where their blind spots are. And so that's one thing I really like. They just have this aura that's very penetrating, that can just go in there and see what's going on with people. I really like that. That's a vibe. It's different, where it's much more pinpointed, where for me, the way that I see and intuit psychically in people is just the bigger picture all at once. And then I can just pull things out and weave it together, and then poof, here's all of you. So it's a lot more pinpointed and focused with guides. And so that's one thing I really love and respect about them. And so, yeah. And so they are just really sought after for advice and thought partners who can just really illuminate a path for others. And so those are the guides, aka the projectors. And then lastly, we have the most rare of the archetypes. We have the sage, traditionally known as reflector. And they just reflect back in their energetic makeup because they have no defined centers in their chart, which we'll get to in future episodes as far as what the centers are, for those of you who don't know what that means. But ultimately, this is the unique gift. They are the mirror, the sages. They're the mirror. They just reflect back the state of collective energy and trends. They call things out. There is a beautiful, beautiful sage in my world that I absolutely love and adore, who teaches hypnotherapy and also is really into human design as well. They do hypnotherapy with human design, and they're a reflector. And they're also calling out just BS and things in a way that is just very poignant, and I just want to listen to whatever they have to say because it's just it hits. And so they offer a holistic perspective that is all about these dynamics and truths that are very hidden and just aren't looked at in the same at all, that you wouldn't even notice, but also in a different perspective. And just they just bring awareness in these beautiful ways. The sages, awareness of societal patterns, fostering deep insights and transformation within the people that follow them. Teal Swan is a really prime example of someone who is a sage luminary. And she's very polarizing. She's a very polarizing figure within personal development and the spiritual world. But she has a really fine knack of being able to not just highlight societal patterns, but really talk about the root cause and where they come from in a way that not a lot of people are really able to do, and in a way that you can't deny the truth of, even if it makes you uncomfortable and even if she pisses you off in the process. Sages, in a nutshell. So that is a brief explanation of the 5 luminary archetypes. It's changed my life, really honing in and really taking my aspects, honing in and looking at my internal guidance system, also known as your strategy and your authority, and all these other aspects, and really seeing examples of how they look, what they look like in my life, looking at the alignment markers and my misalignment markers, also previously traditionally known, I should say, as yourself and not self. So knowing that when I'm frustrated and when I'm angry, that is a signal that I am misaligned. What's going on in my life? How can we change this? How can we shift this? Getting into soul state, seeing where the root causes are within my energy field, and being able to move that energy through my soul state, shift it, clear it, look at the root causes, create a new story. Life-changing. We're really going to get into it, right? And so I do have a free chart. You can actually get your chart for free on my website. So the link is in the show notes and in the video description. If you're watching via video, it's completely free. You just put in your information and it will generate your chart for you and tell you your archetype. And you can also keep your chart and look at the other aspects and follow along as well. And if you want a deeper dive, you can book a hour session with me and ask any questions, and we can actually look at your chart and look at what's going on in your life and how to shift it. So the key thing to know is that for those of you who are aware of traditional human design, that some of the language is different. It's tailored to my own frame of reference. And I fully believe that my frame of reference is not necessarily better, but it's helpful within the context of how I teach human design. And it's not meant to confuse. If anything, it's meant to simplify, because I find that some of the traditional language was a little too heady. And so creating new language based on my understanding of it helps me to understand it. And so it is my hope and it is my belief that the language that helps me to understand it will help others to simplify it. Since I teach human design within the context of manifestation, creativity, soul purpose, and thought leadership. There you go. So you'll hear things, like luminary archetype, which traditionally is type, internal guidance system, which traditionally discusses strategy and authority. And so those are just some examples, but as we go and as we talk about the different aspects, I will share more around that. I don't want to overwhelm. So for this week's Soul Spark, I just want you to consider, take out your journal, your notes app, your Notion, if you use Notion, whichever way you journal, if you like to journal, or just ponder internally if you are driving or listening to this while you're doing other things, is in what areas of your life do you or have you experienced the most resistance to change or growth? And why might that be? In what areas of your life do you or have you experienced the most resistance to change or growth? And why might that be? And the second soul spark is, how does self-sabotage manifest in your thoughts, feelings, and actions? How does self-sabotage manifest in your thoughts, feelings, and your actions? And something to really start, because self-sabotage and resistance it's really kind of the starting point to where change doesn't quite fit and sit. And this is where understanding your luminary archetype can really have you start to look at that in a different light. So ponder on that. Let me know if you're watching via YouTube, what you think about that, what's coming up for you. And I look forward to chatting with you more about this in the next week. And if you haven't, definitely be sure to look at the Luminary Archetype Chart Generator. The link is in the show notes or in the video description. And yeah, I'd love to chat more with you about that, what's come up for you, what insights you have, and what your thoughts are. Please feel free to leave a review on the podcast if you are listening on a podcast platform. And I love you so much. Peace, and thank you for joining me for this journey of the Luminary Soul. Peace.